Hello and welcome to Rubbin Minds. My name is Hero Daniels. Many thanks for joining us. As Nigeria edges closer to the 2027 general elections, the political landscape is already shifting. And fast. In recent months, prominent opposition figures have crossed over to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, citing alignment with the national political survival or better prospects. But these defections waves raise serious questions about the strength of Nigeria's opposition. Is our country drifting towards a one-party state? Are ideologies and accountability now secondary to personal ambition? And what does this mean for democracy when opposition voices are either being silenced or absorbed? On today's show, we're going to explore the state of the opposition politics in Nigeria, what is driving the defections, and how it is affecting public trust, and whether true political alternatives still exist. To discuss defection season, is Nigeria's opposition on life support. Is a governance consultant, Dapo Aderemewa. Welcome to the program, Dapo.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good to see you again. I can see that you have a new look. The mustache really looks good on you.
Thank you very much. I'm trying my Herbert Macaulay look.
That you do look like Herbert Macaulay. Let's dive straight right into it. We've seen heavyweights like Governor Umar of Akwa Ibom, Governor Sharif of Delta State, and Peter Mba of Enugu State, just to mention a few. We've seen senators, House of Reps members, and even political heavyweights from other parties, going to the APC, and it seems like the current government is doing a heavy grab leading up to 2027. What do you make of all the defections?
People are moving because they have the freedom, they have that right. It's, I think it goes to show part of the problem that we're dealing with in Nigeria, in the sense that there doesn't seem to be, for most candidates anyway, most politicians, any, shall we say, philosophical underpinning to the parties that they are in. It's just a merger of people who are in pursuit of power and are aligning themselves to pursue that power. And that's what we're seeing play out, right? Because there is this myth that's being sold that the next election is an absolutely locked and done deal. And so naturally, a lot of these political candidates, in order to secure their own future, are defecting from their parties, defecting from the very people who voted them in, the people who believed in a new platform, the people who believed in something different, turning their backs on all those individuals and aligning themselves with what they think strategically is the best move. Now, it's up to the people who will decide. Eventually, it's not a function of political party. The power still rests with the people. And so the Nigerian people will on that day decide who exactly they want to be their leader.
All right, Dapo. Do you think Nigerian political parties run on ideology? Take, for example, in the United States, you have the Democrats, you have the Republicans, and these two parties have clear-cut ideologies. What a Democrat would say is, the beliefs of a Democrat is sometimes different from the beliefs of a Republican. Now, do you think the APC, the PDP, the Labour Party, and all the political parties that we have, do we have any party that has a clear-cut ideology?
Unfortunately, Nigerian political environment hasn't really evolved to that level. So there are no parties, I would think, that have any strong, shall we say, ideological underpinnings. There are candidates who are representatives of certain parties who have strong ideological underpinnings, who have a strong stance on against things like corruption, embezzlement. We do have those kind of individuals, but as a political system itself, unfortunately, it's just a melting pot. But that's not it's not the end of the world when you think about it. Our political environment is evolving and things will continue to change. And it's ultimately, the politicians are a reflection of what the people choose eventually. So if the people start to align themselves with people who are, shall we say, they have a philosophy and they stand in it, if people start to vote in that direction, politicians will act in that way. So in many ways, you could say a politician, as the old saying goes, is a night walker. He will go with whoever he thinks will give him what he wants, which is power. And so if the Nigerian people start to give power to people who have philosophical underpinnings, people who have substance, and not just people who are just there going to talk to us and motivate us with 5 to 10K, then we will see a change in that area.
Right. Let me play the devil's advocate for a second here. When you hear opposition governors say things like they are trying to align their states to the center, they are trying to bring projects to their states because of, they are now members of the APC. 2 questions. The first is, do you think the center is withholding the resources that is supposed to be allotted to a particular state simply because of their political leader is in opposition? And then secondly, is it just a ploy to give credibility to why they switched their parties?
I think there's some reason to it. I believe there is some reason to it. I think it was not under this APC. If we can call it 2 separate APCs. The APC under Buhari, there was a time that during their campaign, they said if you have committed any sins, if you have been charged with anything, you just join APC and all your sins are forgiven. We know that our political parties, they look after their own. And in many ways, maybe that is also affecting the way resources are distributed and the kind of support that states get. It would be nice to see that, after election, we put aside politics, and we focus on the issue of governance, and that I've always been an advocate for governance. And in a lot of the talks that I have, I always push forward the idea that we should put governance as our number 1 priority. It would be nice to see if, we had a political system where that worked out. But unfortunately, going by what they're saying, that is what is happening. I'm sure they are gaining a lot personally as well. Let us not fool ourselves into thinking that this is all about the people. There must be some material benefit to these actors for them to, swing.
Now, Dabo, beyond the political party, because before now, we would naturally depend on the judiciary. Some political actors would depend on the judiciary to give judgments or pass judgments on some political matters. But some people are of the school of thought that, the 3 arms of government have been collapsed into 1. I mean, there's still 3 on paper, but a lot of people think it's 1 because the center controls every arm of the government, allegedly. So typically in such situations, you see that, oppositions would actually run to the courts and, make their demands heard and say, okay, we're not receiving X and Y resources. We're actually suing the federal government because of this. Now, now that it seems like the opposition is dying, the judiciary, a lot of people are saying, have not been as efficient as they should. What is now the hope for the common man in such a situation like this? Are we in a mess?
Thank you very much. I think I will start by correcting one thing. I don't think the opposition is dying. I don't think so at all. The opposition is in the hearts of every Nigerian who is opposed to policies that are not benefiting them. That is where the opposition lives. The political actors are just doing what they do, but the Nigerian people are by and large opposed to some of the policies that have been brought in by this government. Now, in regards to how all of this plays out, the centralization of power, it is fundamentally a very problematic issue. Now, we look at this alleged issue of a coup that, they're saying almost happened, did happen. We don't really know. Some newspapers have put it out there that it did happen. Now, that is a worrying trend, right? And things like this come by when power is too centralized. When people feel that the power is so centralized to the central that if somebody was to capture the central, they in effect capture the entire state. That is a problem. That is a very dangerous precedent for people to set. I mean, you look at the American system, for example, the president of America has his very strong, shall we say, his strong perspectives, but he is facing severe challenges in the courts. He's facing severe challenges from civil bodies. He's facing challenges in different areas in terms of executing his master plan. And that's how a democracy should work. There should be independent bodies within a democracy, but we're not seeing that. And it's a very dangerous way to go. I'm sure the people in power now are enjoying it because they feel, shall we say, undefeatable. But when we build systems that pose a threat to long-term democracy for short-term benefits, we are setting ourselves up for future problems.
Okay, well said. Well, you mentioned that the people are the opposition, and in as much as the opposition political parties are failing, when the people decide that enough is enough, we're going to take Nigeria back. However, there are laws, there are rules. Candidates have to run via a political party. Structures have to be in place. A coalition, is happening. A lot of people are hopeful about the coalition. Now, do you think with the structure the APC has currently, do you think there's enough time before 2027 for anybody to build such a sustainable structure and run by the books and run on paper and run via a political party and defeat the incumbent government in 2027?
Okay. Now, this issue of structure, it's often touted as the key component in the Nigerian political system. Now, structure is only necessary when you are seeking, to manipulate certain things. There should be no need for structure in the sense that if the Nigerian people align with a particular candidate, they should have the free will to be able to go out and vote. There's no need for, any other, shall we say, any other structure. Let's put it that way. But let us face the reality. Structure is very important. And the question of if it is possible between now and 2027, 100% it is very, very possible. I will say something that is a bit unconventional and something that even wherever we stand on the political divide, we should be grateful as Nigerians that we have the democracy that we have. We should be grateful as Nigerians that we have the democracy we have. It might not be perfect, it might not be world standard, but I tell you what, when I look at what is happening in Cameroon, that a 92-year-old man who is living in Switzerland is winning their election, I thank God that in my own, it might be rigid, it might be rigged, but at least there's still a fighting chance. So if we as a people hold on to this idea that there is still a fighting chance despite the odds, and we come out and do our due diligence, then I believe the gods will smile down on us and allow the Nigerian people and their will to win whatever candidate they choose. But the important thing is that the Nigerian people come out, take part in the process, and express their opinions.
Okay, so well said, Datbo. I also want us to be very practical. Okay, we have Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. We don't know if he's going to clinch the party's ticket. Also, we've seen the coalition with the ADC. Peter Obi, right now, we don't even know whether he's running via the Labour Party or he's going to run via ADC. A lot of things are still blurring, and in political permutations, a lot of people would say that, the earlier certain things are defined, the better, so Nigerians know what they're preparing for. Now, what do you make of all of these uncertainties currently?
Truth be told, there is only one anti-establishment candidate in Nigeria today. There is only one candidate that stands out as something different, right? And that is what happened in the last election. That's what we saw, because he came up with millions of votes who otherwise were not participating in the political system. So I think a cold analysis of the reality of the situation would suggest that any coalition that is to be effective must have him as the front runner and somebody suitable as the vice. Right? That is the only strategy that is really going to work. But history has taught us that the egos of men sometimes are insurmountable. Right. And people are willing for everything to fail in order to protect their own interests. So I can give you an opinion now, but I will just be adding to the speculation. We will see how it plays out. But my own is that as for me and the people that I speak to, I encourage everybody that regardless of what happens, you come out and you vote in alignment with your values. Nobody should sit down at home. That's the important part. Whether you are even voting for the current government, fantastic, come out and vote. I say the problem in Nigeria is not people who came and voted for APC, PDP, Labour Party. The problem is the people, the millions, the almost 60% of people who have a PVC that sat down at home on election day. They are the problem with Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Dapo, for coming on to the program, and we wish you all the best. Rubbin Mind continues after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Rubbin Mind. Before we went on the break, we were having conversations about the political defections from the opposition parties to the ruling party, APC. Now let's talk about Nigeria's security. Nigeria's security crisis continues to dominate national and international conversations. From the north to the south, Nigerians are grappling with kidnappings, insurgency, banditry, and urban violence. Just days ago, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced a complete change in the nation's security leadership, replacing the service chiefs in a move that signals possible recalibration of the country's defense and intelligence strategy. But the conversation took a global twist when US President Donald Trump described Nigeria as a country of concern, reigniting debates around how the world views our safety, stability, and governance. On today's show, we are going to explore both fronts, the internal battle for security and the external perception shaping Nigeria's image abroad. Are these just words, or do they reflect deeper fears about the country's direction? And will the new security team restore both national confidence and international trust? We're now being joined by security experts to discuss Nigeria on the edge, global concerns, local insecurity. Mr. Osaje Dixon, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me here, Daniel.
It's good to have you back. So let's dive straight into it. A lot of people are on the divide on this issue. Since President Trump's tweet came out, people are beginning to pay more attention to the alleged Christian genocide, in the Middle Belt and all of the killings that has been happening in this country. Other people are also of the opinion that there is a Western agenda and we must by all means protect the sovereignty of this country. What are your thoughts on the issue?
Well, today was a busy day on various platforms, engaging with professional minds and also trying to, analyze the tweet of the President of the United States of America, which has gone viral and also has, placed Nigeria once again in a negative limelight. From time immemorial, we're always placed on negative limelight due to the high spread of insecurity, terrorism, insurgency, banditry, and these killings of Christians, like the genocide issues. Most people have the school of thought that both Christians and Muslims are also being killed. And I know strongly that majority of Christian genocide has been taking place. A lot of genocide has been taking place in Nigeria from time immemorial, not within this administration, not within the last administration. Christian genocide has been taking place for a very long time.
Sorry to butt you in. I think that's also a very strong debate. When people say
that's what I'm
Christian genocide, and then other people say, but Muslims are also being killed. Some people might want to also argue that the people doing this, what religion are they?
Exactly, that's what I want to learn. That's my point, because some people say the Muslims are also being killed. I agree. A lot of mosques have been set ablaze by these terrorist guys. A lot of churches have been set ablaze. But sometimes when you look at the ratio, what are the ratio of these killings? When you go to most of this Christian community, when the killings takes place there, what happened? You discover that most of these Fulani herdsmen, dominate that territory, take over the land. And also when you go to some of this Islamic or Muslim community, they also kill. But let's ask ourselves a question. When Boko Haram sprang up, what was their objective? What was their ideology? They claimed that Western education is sin, and at that inception, they were killing a lot of Christians, beheading a lot of clerics and also pastors, bishops, and it was a disturbing situation as well. When you talk about the kidnap of the Chibok girls. Chibok is a Christian-dominated area, and also other incidents happen in Bukus, in plus Jos Plateau State, Southern Kaduna, Benue State. Those are mostly Christian-dominated area. But now the question is, the people perpetrating this act, what religion are they? From the terrorist perspective, we all understand that they're from the Muslim side. So people want to argue that, okay, if you're from the Muslim side, if you want to kill your people, but if you cross to the other side and kill the other religion, it can be classified as genocide, and that is just the truth, because what I see so far, there has been Christian genocide in Nigeria. And we must say the truth so that this killing must stop. The killings of Muslims must stop. The killings of Christians must stop. I see a lot of rhetorics flying around the space from our political leaders, and I wonder why they are paying more attention now. Is it because, was it because the United States have interest? Because when you are classified as a country of particular concern, simply implies that you've been tolerating this insecurity in your country, human rights has been abused in your country, and you're not doing anything about it. When When you see us negotiate with terrorists and showing Ashwebi for those who kill our officers and men, it's a country of particular concern. When you pardon those who kill our soldiers, those who kill our brave officers, government security forces, who sworn an oath to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria, and you pardon them in a quote, in the essence of repentant terrorists, that is a state of concern. If you also negotiate with terrorists, negotiate with bandits, you know, you are a country of particular concern, because you don't need to play with anything that has to do with human lives. And that is why, as we stand now, Nigeria is already on the international limelight negatively. If you go to the Global Terrorism Index, we are maintaining our ratio there. If you go to the Global Peace Index as well, a lot of dirty things happening. But I see this as an avenue for our leaders not to debate. The killings is true. Muslims are being killed. Christians are being killed. Nigerians are being killed. Our leaders need to go back to the drawing board, you know, and say no, no, no. And I tell you, Hero Daniels, these terrorists, if we want to take out these guys, if we are ready in the next 100 days, the Nigerian government should declare a 100 days war against these guys, and the Nigerian army headquarters should move an attack and wipe them off from our territorial space. It is doable, Hero Daniels.
Sorry to butt in here. As a journalist, it is my job to state hard facts. You know, it is my job to, you know, make statements based on empirical evidence.
Exactly.
You know? However, that does not also mean that there are not conversations that should. That does not mean that there are conversations that should not be brought up.
You know
what I mean?
You're correct. Yeah.
Goodluck Ebele Jonathan had once said, on tape, that there are sponsors of terrorism within the government.
All right.
Now, of course, President Buhari took over, and now we have President Tinubu. Until date, we've not seen any lists. We've not seen the names. Some people would say that certain people within the power system are also complacent or are even funding what is going on. Some people would say that there are certain natural resources in this country that the world powers are after, right? So I am not one to start up conspiracy theories.
Exactly.
But what do you make of these conversations?
Well, you know, there's an adage that most times you say a poor man would look at a rich man that he wants to use my star. If you have this star, you should have been a big guy, you know. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that in 2014, this present political leaders, this present APC regime, they were part of the people that, you know, sold our weaknesses out to the United States. They were in DC in 2014 to inform the world that the killings of Nigerians is unacceptable. The killings of Christians is unacceptable. When you go down the tweet of the present president, you see where he tweeted in 2014 that the killings of Nigerians is unacceptable. Now, for me, I see it as karma, you know, fighting back to what they stand to protect about 10, 11 years ago, which was a good fight for them. But you see, like you already talked about, some people being mentioned. United Arab Emirates, Hero Daniels, released some names of terrorism sponsors to the government of this country, and to date we've not been able to see those names. We've not been able to see them being named and shamed. Last time I was on Channels Television to talk about those guys, the sponsors, being secretly prosecuted, and that is not good for a country. A country that wants to develop, a country that doesn't want any international engagement, must fight this war to an end and ensure that every single life matters, be you Christian, Muslim, or whatever the case may be. But each time you shield the sponsors of terrorists, you are supporting crime. You are certifying criminality. And I tell you, when Donald Trump says Nigeria is a country of particular concern, looking at the features of what a country of particular concern means simply implies that Nigeria is truly a country of particular concern. Because I'll be worried when a terrorist shoots my brother in Chibok in 2014, and the same person is being pardoned or granted amnesty. You see them showing Ashwebi in the name of Operation Safe Corridor. It's a mess, you know. Crime and punishment works hand in hand, and I've said this on many fora. People must be punished for crime they commit against humanity. If you don't do that, you are aiding crime, you are aiding criminality. And that is why an advanced country like America will want to come and say, hey, you are not serious, you are not ready to take out these guys. They are within the vicinity. They are within our territorial space. Last 2 weeks, I saw some terrorist guys in Zamfara State. They came into the town with their arms and ammunition. One of them was with almost about 12 magazines of a Kalashnikov. And they came in, have their wedding, and they went back. Some of them come, they have negotiation, and they went back. Are you telling me that country is not a country of particular concern? It is a country of particular concern. If not, you have no space, no room to accommodate terrorists. Anyone that's raised an insurrection against the Nigerian state must be eliminated, because the rule of engagement when it comes to life, because presently we are experiencing societal threats. The rule of engagement says anything that poses threat to human lives, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, that threat must be eliminated. You don't substitute it, you don't play with it, you don't pet it, you don't pay them ransom, you don't negotiate with them, you eliminate it. Nigerians should go ahead and eliminate the existential threat bedeviling our country.
All right, now let's talk about what some people might perceive as the bigger picture. What is the bigger play? We've seen countries where the Westerners invaded, US particularly. You know, you talk about Libya, and Libya has not recovered in terms of their GDP, in terms of how the economy is functioning, right? And some people are afraid that that might happen in Nigeria as well, right?
Okay.
And then if you look at the situations in these countries, the people of those countries were dissatisfied with their governments.
Exactly.
And that is why the US states can come and play savior. Now, we're seeing a similar situation in Nigeria, where the people are genuinely, at least majority, some people say that people are dissatisfied with this current government, thereby leaving the room to divide and conquer. What are your thoughts on that?
Hero Daniel, a fantastic question. You know, sometimes I'm a criminologist, and from my own perspective, you know, sometimes when an incident transpired, we don't look at what caused it, where it was caused, where it happened, and how it happens. We look at why, the why. Why are we here? What's the problem? You know, it's so devastating that for so long, Nigerian people has been crying. Our people has been crying for so long. I was on BBC last 2 months, and they were trying to interview. They interviewed me about the new arms deal between the United States and Nigeria, because the United States is not an enemy. We're not an enemy to the United States. Let's have that very clear. That arms deal, I think, is still with the Congress, because if they never wish us well, they won't sell us those arms, and they've been selling arms to Nigeria for a very long time. And so sad that most times when these Boko Haram or terrorists attack our military, attack our security agents, they tend to cut away some of these arms and ammunition we bought from abroad. And most of these arms get to the enemy's hand. And the West are worried that, hey, why do arms get to the enemy's hand? And that's another reason for concern as well. And our military, they are the last hope of defense. Once the military is gone, Nigeria as a country will not survive. And that is how we will move to a failed state. Presently, Hero Daniels, we are in a fragile state situation. Nigeria is in a fragile state situation. And if we want to get it right, our leaders must work hand in hand and ensure that we do not play with security issues. Of recent, we've been hearing about rumor mills, about the coup d'etat. And why would some people want to carry out coup against this democratic system, government, which you and I don't pray for, because we should have a democracy for the people, by the people, and for every one of us, not some political elites seeing politics as a game of get rich quickly instead of a game of service. Because if I tell you, Daniels, in the last election, some of these guys who are riding Okada that won election into the House Assembly, go and see what they are buying up and down. You know, a lot of them, you know, dealing with Nigerian finances and a lot of stuff. So our politicians also, you know, has to be careful, because this time around, they are playing with the tiger's tail.
Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu moved swiftly, and he has changed the service chiefs. Do you think that move will be very effective? Are we going to see a better military? Are we going to have results in the next coming months, the next coming weeks, adding the pressure of the United States president on the particular issue?
Fantastic. You see, I also will appreciate if the Chief of Defense Staff called for an emergency meeting and first of all carry out a crime mapping analysis of the territorial integrity of Nigeria and ascertain where the threat is coming from. You know, if you, for example, in Lagos State, now if you want to look for the hotbed where you have most of this state of insecurity, you want to say, okay, Oshodi, like, you know, all this area. So that's what we call crime mapping. So let them carry out a crime mapping analysis and also ascertain where all this problem is coming from. And the military should go ahead and bombard hell out of these people. And I tell you for free that the military, I still repeat, the Nigerian military I know has the capability and capacity. But I think they've been so much involved in politics, and that is why this war has been lingering. Imagine 2009, Daniels, when Boko Haram sprang up, 16 years down the line, and this fight is still lingering. That is a cause for worry, and that is what we call existential threat, which was even captured in the lines of President Donald Trump. So how do we deal with this existential threat? The Nigerian military needs to go back to the war room and reassess this situation. They can do it in exception of political will, because we also need political will to win this war against these people. Daniels, we have hundreds of generals in this country, from the Army, Navy, Air Force, over 300 generals, and some group of criminal elements are defeating these generals. It's a shame, because you can't have generals all over across the country, and some group of criminal elements are taking over your territory. Why are you a general? What are you supposed to do as a general? So these generals we have in our country, these soldiers, the officers, should see this war as a war to protect the territorial integrity of this country. They should say no to greed. They should say no to anyone who wants to politicize this war, because the military has the constitutional right to protect the territorial integrity of this country, and they must not gamble with it. If they gamble with it, they will keep on losing their officers and men so swiftly, and that is why they also need to start looking at force protection. You can't have those who are protecting you and I being killed like chicken. Boko Haram will stage an attack, capture military base, capture military checkpoints. Nigerian army, Nigerian military, it's uncalled for. So the military should go back, re-energize themselves and take out this shame, because Donald Trump said a country of disgrace. And Nigeria is truly becoming a country of disgrace.
All right, very quickly, let's not forget the center, let's not forget the main issue that's triggered everything, which is the genocide.
The genocide, yeah.
There have been countless viral videos on social media.
Coming up.
In fact, there's a particular video where a Reverend Father was listing the names of the people that were immortalized as a result of the killings. How can we put a decisive stop to these killings? Because we cannot ignore it. As much as people say there's a bigger agenda and nobody really wants the Western world to invade our sovereign nation, you can't also ignore what is going on.
Exactly.
The people are dissatisfied. Exactly. We cannot allow the killings to go on.
And it's visible, it's visible.
And a lot of Nigerians on social media are saying that we don't even care if the Western world takes our resources.
A lot of Nigerians don't care about that.
So long as
there's peace,
we are safe, they don't care if they take the resources. They say the resources are not being used for the common man. It doesn't trickle down. So these are the sentiments. And again, the Western world can easily capitalize on the sentiments of the people. And you cannot blame people for feeling sad when their brothers are being killed, when their sisters are being killed.
You can't be beaten and not expect to
How
cry.
can we decisively put an end to this?
Fantastic. Political will. That is why. Because politics have divided, has divided this great country, Nigeria. And it's so sad that we don't see this as a serious issue, and that is the problem. Most times when an incident happens, the spokesperson to the president will just come out quickly and just, write it off. You don't write off incidents. And most times, like some time ago in Bukos, in Jos Plateau State, over 100 people were slaughtered, and that's all. We don't have a conclusive investigation into this issue. And that's why I was watching a program sometime last month. A man who committed murder 38 years ago in America, spent 38 years in prison. He was brought out and executed in presence of his family. They wish him goodbye, granddad goodbye, because they see punishment as an effective tool to manage crime. If you don't have an effective punishment measures in place, you don't have an effective judicial system in place to deal with all these criminal activities, crime keep on flourishing. The lower the punishment, the higher the crime. And that is why I say a lot of people come to Nigeria and do whatever they want to do. Now, going to your question, if we want to get it right, the military, the police, they need to synergize. Intelligence is also very important as well. And I also appreciate the DSS. They are doing a fantastic job for this great country in the area of intelligence gathering, both human intelligence, tech intelligence, and a lot of open source intelligence to serve to the military and other security agencies. So we should also look at intelligence to ensure that this is being managed. And in the area of the genocide, we need to also ensure that our leaders, our political leaders, mind their rhetorics. Most times when I listen to their rhetorics during the campaign, it's so divisive, and that's why we also need to start looking at unification of this great nation, Nigeria, so that we will no longer suffer from religious brutality. Because it stands with Daniels, we are suffering from religious brutality, societal brutality, economic brutality, tribal brutality. a lot of brutality, police brutality as well. Nigeria has been so brutalized, and that is why the Americans are ready to come in. But Americans, or the tweet of Donald Trump, or the coming of the American soldiers to our great nation Nigeria will not solve the problem. The only savior we need is ourselves. We have the capability to solve our problem. If America steps in, arms and ammunition will go into the hands of bad guys. A lot of people will want to go into crime, like Libya and other countries. They stepped in. Maybe their intention is not to. I know when they come, they will wipe out these terrorist guys, but arms and ammunition will definitely go to the hands of the bad guys, and nobody can manage the situation.
All right, so Sergeant Dixon, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
And yes, we truly use this opportunity to, appeal to the government to do what is right and be firm and decisive. Rubbin Mind continues after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Rubbin Mind. The music video you just watched is one of the old recreation of Ruggedi Baba, the best of Rugged Man acoustic version. And we have the man himself in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, rapper, activist, and the list goes on. Ruggedi Baba. Rugged Man, how you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. Let's remove activists and change, swap it with humanitarian.
Humanitarian.
I prefer humanitarian.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And why is that?
Because I am more, I care more about humans than I care about the things that are around it. Let me just put it that way. I care more. It's not, and then I don't do clout. That's why most times you don't see me posting so much of the things I do, really. Even though a lot of my friends always tell me, why don't you post them? But I'm like, nah. I do a whole lot of helping behind the scenes. Kind of.
So you have been around for a very long time, and of course you are going to be around for a long time.
We just said it made it sound like I performed at the Last Supper.
Of course, we cannot talk about Nigerian hip hop without mentioning you. We thank you for your contributions and of course your consistency over the years, using music as a tool to voice out, the people's pain, to talk about the society, to help construct the society better. Do you think music has changed with the new cats?
Music has changed, definitely, because the most constant thing in life is change, but yes, it has changed. Production-wise, quality up, even movies up, music, the sound, instrumentation up. And the only change that I don't fancy much is the quality of the music. And not too many of them are doing it, are giving me, what I really respect. No, we have our musicians, we have our singers and rappers, but there are too many wishy-washy songs out there. There are too many people going into music just to use it as a means to an end. And that doesn't carry the weight of the art in it. You understand? They're just doing it just to, okay, let me make money. Oh, Baba is making money. Tiwa Savage is making money. Let me go so I can pop champagne in the club and have money and buy cars, But yes, I agree. Bills have to be paid. But when you talk music and the quality, no, it has dropped.
Okay. Speaking about the quality dropping, hip-hop particularly, some people might say that hip-hop is dead in Nigeria. And then I think there was a conversation that was being had and some people were citing people like Charlie Poppy being the new faces of rap. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know who said Charlie Poppy is the new face of rap. Because even Charlie Poppy himself has read somewhere where he said he's not a rapper. Because he said he put him in an awards category. They put him in an awards category for best rap, and he said no. You understand? So he knows that he's not into rap like that. Unfortunately, rap has kind of like taken a back seat because people want to do something that gives them money quickly. That gives them money quicker. And one of the fastest ways music-wise to make money is R&B, Afro beats with an S. That annoys me, but anyway, yeah. So people want to do what gives them money quicker, and that's the singing and the chanting, like I call it. So not too many people are doing rap. It costs more to push and promote rap than Afro beats.
Why is that?
Yeah, it's easier to promote Afro beats. What's in Afro beats most of the time? You get a good instrumental, get a good beat, take one street slang that's popular, repeat it, say like 10, 15 times, and then just say some things in between as the verse, and that's it. Clubs go for it, parties go for it, social media goes for it. Especially this generation, like they always say, they're all about cruise. And vibes. So that's what they want. So it's easier. You have a generation of people, you have millions of people who are ready for you to buy and stream your cruise and vibes, and that brings money quicker. So if you're giving them the whole rap thing, oh, you're talking too much. Quick example is social media comment sections and captions. If your caption is a bit long, if you check the comments, all you hear is, I beg, who don't read, anybody who don't read, I may summarize for us. What did he talk? What did he say in the comments in the caption? They don't have time. Their attention span is too short. So, and rap, for you to rap is, you take more, it requires more intelligence, really, to really go into to do rap. So, and some people don't even want to waste that time. They just want to vibe.
Okay, so from what you're saying, it's more or less like, aside from the creators not creating up to standard,
up to my standard.
Up to your standard music, there's also the audience that is enabling that.
Oh, of course. Of course. Which also brings me to your radio presenters, DJs, and co. I don't blame you. Remember a few seconds ago, I said bills have to be paid. So they want to do whatever will help them pay their bills. So if they play their trending music, whether the person is saying rubbish or not, as long as it's trending, they will play it. They will push it because they want to be among the trending people playing the trending music. So the audience wants what the audience wants, especially if it's a vibes and inshallah audience. You can't try to force your own type or style of music on them. So yes, the audience do condone or enable such. Even your show promoters and promoters and brands these days, they want, what do they want? Numbers. They want numbers. Thank you for saying that. That's what skipped my mind since. Right now it's all about numbers. They don't care how you're getting the numbers. Once you have the numbers, they come for you. That's why sometimes you see some public figures, some weird public figures, I don't want to call names before they start again. You see some weird public figures getting certain endorsements and you're wondering why, how? But it's because of their numbers on their social media. TikTok followers, Instagram followers, they have millions. So you see people using them for influencing jobs and everything. You've seen the entire evolution from the CDs to the streaming, and now with CDs.
Tapes, CDs, and the streams, you know? Now there's a shift, there's almost a shift in the culture, especially amongst the younger generation, the Gen Zs, where it seems like apps like TikTok and social media, especially TikTok, is dictating which song pops, you know? Now, is that a good thing? Because we've also seen a lot of relatively unknown artists blow up from the platform, as opposed to the conventional way of blowing up.
Yeah, but remember what I said, the most constant thing in life is change. So yes, this happens because there are millions of people on TikTok. There are millions of people streaming. So that's why, and once you have the numbers, they can actually dictate certain things. But what they also cannot do is force the people outside of that platform to accept those songs. So because you're blown on TikTok doesn't mean you're blown outside to everybody else. You understand? But if you're making money from TikTok, hey, you stay there and do your thing. Because I heard the phrase some time back, somebody said TikTok artists. And I'm like, what's TikTok artists? They say, these are artists, they just know them on TikTok. You understand? So only a few people know them. And then from the TikTok, it trickles out to radio, fine, but not as much as in the rest of the world. But like I said, bills have to be paid. So if that gives you money, I'm on TikTok myself. Yes, I'm on TikTok. I am Rugged Man on TikTok.
Okay, now let's talk about the Afro beats. I tried as much as possible not to add the S because it annoys you. Let's talk about the Afrobeat movement. We've seen a global bust of Afrobeat. It didn't start now. The likes of Two-Face and the rest of them had already crossed the borders, but now it's even, the conversation is bigger than ever with Wizkid, Davido, Rema, and the likes of it. What are your fears with this bursts of opportunities? Also, factoring in the fact that we do not own these international labels, we do not have ownership of a lot of our stuff.
Yeah, well, my fear has been and will remain the same. The fact that we don't have our own Nigerian distribution companies. Why don't we? You understand? Why don't we? And why do we always have to depend on outsiders to help us distribute our music? Why do we need validation from outsiders? You understand? Because right now the whole world is eating Nigerian music. I won't call it Afrobeats because, like you rightfully said, Two-Face and a couple of others were already out there before they tagged Nigerian music Afrobeats. You know, because one of my issues with the Afrobeats thing is the fact that we have rappers, we have singers. So are we going to call Kwamwon an Afrobeat artist? Are we going to call King Sunny Ade an Afrobeat artist? We won't. So I just have a feeling that this whole Afrobeats thing, the tag might end soon. It might end, really, because, like I said, we have rappers, we have Fuji artists, we have Juju artists, we have reggae artists. So you want to pack everybody into Afrobeats. Okay, where did they put Fela Nicola Kuti?
They say he's the man that invented the genre.
Which genre?
Afrobeat.
No, he invented Afrobeat. What you're talking about is what they call Afrobeats. You see? So there's when you have to be explaining so much, there's always a comma. You understand? But I'm happy. Afro, whatever they call it aside, I'm happy Nigerian music is out there. I'm happy Nigerian music is on the forefront, and I'm happy it is Nigerian music. I wish they had just left it at Nigerian music, but some people just wanted to be, oh, we named it. Just like, what's his name? Is it Robinson Crusoe, Abi, who came to on some part of Africa and said he discovered, how can you discover people that are there already?
Right.
Oh, that you just came to visit.
Okay. What do you also make about the supremacy for who the greatest is? You know, you see people like Burna Boy. He did come out and say the only man that is greater than him in the history of Afrobeats is Fela Kuti. You know, so what's going on?
His choice, his decision, his opinion, because I'm sure, I know Davido has said stuff like that, Wiz has said stuff. So anybody can come up. Once they're reigning, they feel like they're on top of the world, they're number one. So you don't blame them, really. But then the fans get to actually, I feel the fans are the ones who get to do that, unless you want to go by numbers. You want to go by numbers, by who's got more awards, who's got more streaming, and all that. Then you can go by that. But unfortunately, again, that we can't even trust too much, because I've found out about stuff like streaming farms. Right. We actually have streaming farms where people pay and they stream your music. So it's not organic. So how do we now know that the numbers you're giving us for streaming is actually organic or from those fake farms? Okay. You understand? So we really can't tell. But if you want to call yourself anything you want to call yourself, you understand? But my own is just give us good music and we're good.
All right. So what's happening with Rugged Man now? What are we to expect?
Rugged Man has I just dropped an acoustic version of, I picked 5 of my songs: Ruggedy Baba, Baraje, Change, One Battle, and One Man, and I did acoustic versions of them, 5 of them. Of course, I listed the help and support of the great guitarist Fioki. Yeah. So acoustic is just me.
That's the video playing on the screen right now?
Avalon Okwe shot this video, and 4 others.
Wow.
Because what I did 5 tracks and I shot videos for the 5 tracks.
Amazing.
So we're doing every 2 weeks, 1 new video drops. So Ruggedy Baba just dropped. It's on my YouTube, official Rugged Man. It's on my YouTube. And then, of course, the tracks, like I said, this is the first. No Nigerian rapper has done this. Acoustics, just guitar and rap. So this gives you an opportunity to hear the lyrics and feel the soul, the heart behind all the words I use, and nobody has done this before. So it's out there on all streaming platforms. People can get it. And this is for me to end this year with. But next year, 2026, Rugged Man already has new songs with Odumodu Black, with Jerick, with Magneto, Tubaba, and a couple of other people. Entertainment, Nishemio, Plex. Music is what I do.
Of course, we're definitely here to support you anytime, any day. Thank you so much for coming on to the program.
Thank you.
And that is it. That's all we have for you today. I hope you have enjoyed this particular edition of Rubbin Minds. My name is Hero Daniel. Until I catch you next week, stay safe. Bye for now.
wanna get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and